look and the way that we are, which is really, really hard for basically every woman I've ever met to do. So we're going to explore maybe why a little bit today and give you some tools, hopefully, to help you so when you are beating yourself up that you know what to do that less often, and then pretty soon you won't do it at all once you get better and better, and I get better and better at this stuff. So first of all, I want to backtrack and talk a little bit about last week, and I know it was super annoying, and I gave you guys homework, and I tried to remind you, because this stuff is, when we're trying to change our habits and the way we normally live our life, it's hard, and it takes work, and you constantly have to remind yourself, and you constantly have to go back and kind of retrain yourself to think a different way and to do things a little bit different. So that's why I gave you the homework, and that's why I tried to remind you on Facebook. Are you doing this? Are you doing this? So I want to talk about it just for a second. And I'll tell you kind of how my stuff went too, because I'm right along here with you. Again, one of the things I like to make very clear is nobody is perfect, even in the way that they think about themselves. So I'm standing up here and giving you some tools that have really helped me and that I've learned through working with women for over 15 years now about their body image and weight loss and all of this stuff. And I'm always just shocked at no matter what anybody looks like, across the board, women are really hard on themselves. So sometimes we have this idea like, well, if I get here, if I get to this certain weight, if I get to this certain look, if I get to this certain blah, I'm going to be happy. And I can assure you that that is not the case. You have to figure out how to be happy and accept yourself before you get to that point, if you ever do, or if you can't be happy and accept yourself, you frankly will never get to a point where you feel like you're where you want to be. So I want to go over quickly last week. So I'm in this boat with you. I am reminding myself constantly. I have just learned some tools to catch myself. So when I start to fall into those negative thoughts or to beat myself up or to feel bad about myself, I'm not standing here saying that never happens to me, but I've learned some ways to stop, and I am constantly getting better and better. And I can truly say that now I do that way less. I'm way happier with myself than I ever was before, and I'm assuming that if I continue to implement some of this stuff we're going to talk about tonight, that I will be better and better and better at it as I go through my life as well. And nowadays, I really don't have very many moments where my negative self-talk or my insecurities cripple me anyways. I can get past it, I can stop myself, and I can do what I want to do, and end up feeling really good doing what I want to do, even if I have a moment of like, ooh, I don't know, right? So, first things first, did you guys spend some time this week, and even past 2 weeks ago, taking the fear out of your decision making, and did you come up with any goals or realizations about the direction you wanted your life to go that either you had not known you wanted before, or you were too scared to tell yourself, yeah, that's actually the direction I want to go, or that's the goal I want? Did anybody come up with some of those things? Does anybody want to share some of their goals that they came up with, or like directions, life, whatever? Yeah.
Super duper helped me with your, well, okay, if I were talking to my best friend.
I know, right?
It's
so simple.
stinking easy.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense, and I've had to do that to myself because I'm in a marriage relationship like
Yeah.
yours. And it is hard to sometimes get out of your current circumstances and go. So I was dating a fellow, and I did that to myself. I thought, okay, what about this person is amazing for you and your kids?
Yeah.
Is he godly? Oh, wow, that component's missing.
Yeah.
That's huge to me. That's just something that's wrong. And so I think to myself, okay, you need to start over.
Yeah.
Why are you scared to start over?
Yeah.
Why are you scared to be alone?
If your friend was dating, what would you tell your friends?
So
Yeah,
I was
right.
being that frank with myself, and I just got really clear on it and put an end to things, and I got really clear on, I'll be embarrassed to say it, but I was smoking cigarettes, and food is definitely an addiction. And so yesterday, I had gone in to my son had a tournament in Tri-Cities this weekend for basketball, and I thought, oh, I'll go to Maurice's. They have really cheap jeans, and I'm really fat right now, and I don't want to buy $200 jeans right now, so let's go buy those $30 all in or I'm all out. So I was like, okay, you haven't had a cigarette today. Let's not smoke anymore.
Yeah.
And let's not ever in the next probably year go back to Five Guys burgers either. And so I just did. I made some, and it's weird because I started thinking last night, like, oh my gosh, I had homework. What did I do? And I had to think about, so just by osmosis, some of these things are evolving in my life just from the one class.
Well, just so you know, all of those things that you have started to do this week are extremely hard. Any one of those things is a really, really big, hard change. So that's awesome. And yeah, we talked about this a little bit before. Thanks, Lori. I was trying to get my essential oils to permeate the room. But we talked about this before. I really want this environment to be a really safe environment so we can share this information, because whether or not you have the same issues, and many of us will have the same issues, but whether or not you do or not, the feelings are the same. You know, the feelings are the same, and those are really hard. That's awesome. Okay, anybody else? Anything that they got?
I've been part of roller derby here in Ellensburg for 7
awesome.
years. So I'm used to play and then broke my ankle, and now I'm the head coach. And it's really hard for me to, like, it spreads me really thin, but I'm scared to give it up because I've been a part of it, and it's so part of my identity. But I also am the merchandise manager, and it counts for my work to do that. So I told them this past week that this is my last season coaching, which was really, really hard to do.
Yeah. Because you need to make room.
I do need to make
your
room.
goals.
Yeah, but it's really like such a part of me. And I used to go, and it used to be because I was a skater, going and hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
Well, everyone other than 2 people have retired from skating, so it's me going, and everyone sees me as their coach. So it's a very different type of environment.
Yeah.
And so I officially told them, like, this is my last season coaching, which was really hard. But I'm still going to be the merchandise manager so that I can go skate at practices.
Awesome, yes.
But that was, like, really, doesn't sound that difficult, but it was a really hard 7 years, like, being such an integral part and being there since day one is, like, that was really hard for me.
No, I think that does sound hard. I was a high school athlete, and I played for 1 year in college volleyball, and I identified with that competitiveness. And when I got to college, it was same thing, sucking all this time away from me, but I didn't want to give it up because I'm like, no, I'm like, that's what I am. I'm an athlete, and I had to find other ways to be an athlete, but it took me some time, you know that. But I'm like, I'm not going to be a professional volleyball player here, and I am at this point. Playing volleyball is not getting me closer to where I want to be, and so I had to do that too. So I think that is hard. Did anybody else do any, or come up with a goal, or, and you don't have to tell us, but hopefully,
Well, mine's kind of big. I'll probably cry.
Don't, you'll make me cry. I told you I was a super bad crier.
So I resigned from my job last month with really no plan, and I'll finish teaching this June. And I found I was spending more time working on my backup plan, and I had even promised a director down in Yakima that I would maybe come work there. And so I told her last week that I'm definitely not. And then told my husband whether I get a job or not, that we're definitely moving.
Yeah.
Because that's really what I want.
Yeah.
And I kept working on this backup plan because it was like safe.
Yeah.
But I was spending so much time on that I wasn't doing what I needed to do for me.
Yeah.
And so I called the realtor. The house is listed this Wednesday, and I called the realtor there and we're getting ready to put a contingent offer in on the house there.
That is
And I
so
just said,
exciting and scary, but
The
exciting.
are huge, but it was easier for me to say that I was going to do it
Yeah.
and spend time working on my backup plan. And I was like, I kept waking up going, that's not really what I want, so why am I wasting my time on it? And it was like starting to take up more of my time than the actual plan was that I wanted, than working towards the goal that I wanted. So my husband, thank God he's supportive.
Yeah.
But he was like, I'm on board for whatever you want to
Awesome.
do that puts you in a happy place. And so
That is
that's
a
what I
great
needed to
husband.
do in those 2
Yeah.
weeks since we were here.
That is really cool. All these big changes and all these realizations are really scary. I don't want anybody to discount, even if you feel like your goal or your plan or the things that you came up with, even if you feel like they're small, changing the way you think and the easy direction that you are going is really hard and really scary. And we're going to talk more about, because let me tell you, you're going to have times where you're going to have to redirect yourself again. It's not one of those deals where you're like, oh sweet, I made the decision, let's go. It's still going to be scary, and you're going to have to say, oh no, I'm scared, I want to go back this other way again. And so we're going to talk about some ways to kind of like right yourself, because even me, again, I talked a little bit about this, but when coming from my abusive relationship years and years ago, and again, as time and as we get better at these things, this happens less and less, which is great. Same thing with working out. You know, the more you do it, the better you feel, the easier it is. Same thing with these mental games. But I was so scared when I first left my husband that for a while I would find myself gravitating towards the same type of guy or back to a safe situation because I'd freak out and be like, oh no, I can't do it, you know, oh never mind, let me find a safe job again, you know, or never mind guys, you want me to come help, and then you're sucked back into all that time or whatever. The guy thinks really easy to get sucked back in that way. But so please don't discredit how challenging what you guys are doing is. And if you're making some of these changes and these decisions, they're really scary and they're really hard, and you deserve major props. So anybody else have any goals or anything that okay, awesome. Even if just on your own and you don't want to share them, that's totally cool. But I'm hoping that this last week, even if it's a small goal, like, well, I don't even want to say any goals are small because they're all hard if it's making a change in your life. But say that you feel like you wanted to spend way more time with your kids and you came to that realization that you hadn't sat back and thought that that was a major priority, and am I spending my time there or anything. Any of those things, any of those changes are awesome. And my hope for you is that you were able to, even if you're still scared about the decisions you made, or even if you're still scared about the goals you set for yourself, my hope is that you took the fear away and you can at least say, okay, this is the direction I know I would like to go in. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you you're not going to be scared about it. But when I first started along this journey, like I talked about last time, I couldn't even figure out what I wanted. Like that was kind of my first step. And some of you guys were probably past that before we even talked 2 weeks ago. But I wanted to get past that point. If you are having a hard time telling what you want or deciding what you want because of fear or because of trying to please others, my hope for these last 2 weeks was that you were able to take that away and at least acknowledge the goals that you want and the direction you want to go, even if you're still super scared to go that way. All right, so that. So my personal goals, and this is something, I just like to share some of my own personal experiences with you, just because that's how I can relate as well. But we're all in different places in our life, and life is not necessarily this like continuous growth, you know, like, okay, here's step A, and then I go to this higher level and I'm way better. You know, you go forward and then you get knocked back a little bit, and then you go forward and you get knocked back. So it's interesting to me because I've been in these different places in my life where my goals look very different. For example, when I first left my ex-husband, my big grand goals were like to